Have you ever wanted to build your own sensors or devices for Home Assistant? If so, you've probably come across ESP Home, a great tool but one that many beginners struggle with. Not because of the hardware, but because of YAML and the lack of clear documentation. Many people quickly get discouraged and go back to searching the web and buying ready-made devices that still don't meet their individual needs. And even if you already have experience with ESP Home and know how to build your own devices, be honest, couldn't this process be easier? Absolutely yes. That's why ESP Home Studio was created, a visual environment that lets you build your first fully working device without writing YAML. It not only lowers the entry barrier and makes learning easier, but also organizes, streamlines and speeds up the workflow for more advanced users. In this video, I will show you how to create a simple ESP-based thermometer that sends data to your Home Assistant dashboard, and you will see how working with ESP Home Studio looks in practice. And this is just a small taste of what you can build. But let's start from the beginning. First, here's what we will need on the hardware side. VEMOS board, temperature sensor such as DS18B20, resistor, the wiring diagram, and the breadboard with jumper wires to quickly put everything together. Once the hardware is ready, I just connect the power and we can jump straight into the ESP Home Studio. But before we continue, let's quickly check if we are connected to any Home Assistant instance. I'm currently at the office and this is our Home Assistant setup. I go to the devices and integrations, and as you can see, there is no ESP Home related integrations yet, but it will appear in just a moment as soon as we flash the VEMOS board with our temperature sensor code. We start by creating a new project using the New button. Let's name it ESP8266 thermometer. Next, we select the ESP8266 processor. And then let's choose the VEMOS board, which is D1 Mini. Now I enter my Wi-Fi network name and password. So we have the board selected and network access configured. The next step is to choose the bus our project will use, in this case one wire. And by the way, take a look at how the one wire section looks in YAML. We have one wire, and underneath its three values: ID, platform and pin. Simple, right? When we're using ESP Home Studio, it's worth glancing at the generated YAML from time to time, because sooner or later you will naturally learn YAML just by working with the wizard. At this point, it's always worth double-checking whether we've selected the correct pin. When wiring the circuit on the breadboard, I remember connecting the temperature sensor to pin D5. So I click here Show Pin Out, and there we go. On D1 Mini, pin D5 corresponds to GPIO 14. Just like in ESP Home, we could enter D5 here, but I recommended getting used to using GPIO numbers as a good habit. Next, we go to the Components tab and check the first box, since we are using a sensor, right? You can see that an include entry has appeared in the YAML. This will add an additional file to the project where we can configure the sensor in more detail. And that's everything for the wizard. Now we can click just Save. In the main window of the program, we can clearly see that a new project has been created in our workspace, with the main YAML file and an additional folder containing sensor.yaml. After double-clicking this file, a new window opens with our ready-to-use configuration template for a single DS18B20 temperature sensor. In this video, I won't go into the details of this YAML configuration. This template is already fully functional and prepared specifically for DS18B20. There are many more templates like this, and each can be easily customized, with support a wide range of sensors. If we filter by DS, we can immediately see two templates available out of the box, one for a single DS18B20 and one for two sensors. We'll continue expanding the template library in ESP Home Studio, and we'd love your feedback. test the program and tell us which sensor you are using. If something is missing, we can add it very quickly. Okay, going back, in this ready-made template, we don't need to change anything. Now we simply have to open our main YAML file in the ESP-Home dashboard, so we can compile it and flash to the board via USB for the first time. There are two ways to do this. Right-click the file and choose Open in Dashboard, or simply double-click the file marked with the red outline. And an important note, if this is the first time you are doing this on a computer that has never had Python installed, Windows will show a security message. Click Show More and make sure to enable private networks. Public networks can be enabled, but it's optional. Then click Allow. And there we go, the ESP-Home dashboard is now up and running. If you've used it before, it probably looks familiar. At this point, we can edit our project and we can see exactly the same configuration that we've created earlier in the wizard. So how do we check if everything compiles correctly and make sure that there are no errors in the YAML file? It's simple, just click Install and then choose Manual Download. By selecting this option, we are basically telling the dashboard, compile my YAML code, and if everything is correct, give me just the final bin file, which I could flash to the device using any method I want. And this also lets us verify that the compilation is working without any issues. The first compilation usually takes a bit longer. Okay, and there we go. We've received a file to download, which means the project compiled successfully, and we still haven't written a single line of YAML. So now we can safely try to flash it to the device. But will it work on the first try? Okay, let's try. We click Install again, and this time we choose Plug into the computer running ESP-Home device builder. In other words, we will flash the firmware over USB. Since we don't have any firmware on the board yet, we can't use the wirelessly option. So we select the wired option. And then let's choose the COM port, in my case it's COM3. Okay, and ESP-Home compiles the project again, this time as you can see much faster. But look at this, we are getting some errors. What's going on? In my case, the errors appears because I'm using a fresh computer that has never worked with Wemos boards or any ESP modules before. These boards use the CH340 USB to serial chip, which requires dedicated drivers. So what now? Should I start searching the internet for drivers? Sometimes you may see a similar error even if the drivers are installed, because unfortunately the CH340 adapter can be a bit flaky. In my case, simply unplugging the board and plugging it back is not enough to solve the problem, but when the driver's actually missing, the error message in ESP-Home won't clearly say drivers not installed. Instead, it will just complain about issues with the COM port. In ESP-Home Studio, we have a convenient solution for this. Just go back to the main window, right-click and at the very bottom of the context menu, select Download and install CH341X drivers. Let's install the drivers. And here we just need to click the install. Now, going back to the ESP-Home window, we click Retry, and the compilation and flashing process starts again. Okay, but let's quickly open the Home Assistant dashboard. Oh, can you see? There it is. ESP-Home thermometer has appeared live. This integration is detected automatically by Home Assistant. We didn't even have to click Add Integration, it just showed up. Now we simply click Add, Confirm, and assign the device to an area. I will choose the living room, for example. Click Finish, and here we go. A sensor panel has appeared on the dashboard with the temperature reading. The sensor is physically close to the ESP module on the breadboard, so we are seeing around 25 degrees Celsius, even though the room itself is a bit cooler. I will grab the sensor with my fingers, and you can see the temperature rising. Now I will cool it down quickly using compressed air. You can even see frost forming on it, and the temperature drops live down to around minus 35 Celsius degree. So the sensor is clearly working, and soon it will slowly return to the room temperature. By default, the measurement interval is 4 seconds. How can we change that quickly? Let's just open the sensor.yaml file, and here we see the update interval option set to 4 seconds. Let's just change it to the 2 seconds and save the file. And now we need to upload the main YAML file again from the ESP Home dashboard, but this time we can use the wireless upload option because the device already has firmware and remembers the Wi-Fi, SSID and password. In the meantime, in Home Assistant we now can see that the device becomes temporarily unavailable. That's normal. After a moment everything refreshes once the new firmware is flashed. The device restarts and starts sending readings again. And there it is, as you can see, temperature is visible once more. So our first ESP-based thermometer is complete, and we didn't write any YAML. And if we ever want to adjust something, the templates are clearly structured and easy to modify, as you could see before. ESP Home Studio truly lets you spread your wings and master ESP Home, and along the way it naturally helps you understand YAML too. Now the temperature is updated every 2 seconds. If I touch the sensor, the change appears almost immediately, and if I cool it down, it updates just as fast. And that's it, our fully working ESP thermometer is ready. And that's all for that video. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Try ESP Home Studio right now for free, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We look forward to your feedback. Thanks and see you next time.